The tea is exceptionally good today. Who made this? Very delicious. Hold on.
What up, Cosmic Cousins? Well, we've gathered here today to discuss betrayal, but not just any betrayal. The betrayal of a friend, a close friend, as well as an uncommittal ex. Now, this betrayal has been playing out right before our very eyes, not only on our TV screen, now that we've gotten a closer look, but mainly over this here internet. And y'all already know, Cosmic Cousins, I got to get into it. We are talking about the betrayal of Amandoval, Batula, and Wes Wilson against the beautiful Ciara Miller. That's right, Cosmic Cousins. This episode of Astrology Tea has Summer House written all over it, and you already know I am about to get into the tea of it all. We are talking natal placements, we're talking Synastry charts, as well as we're talking transits that made all of this come to light. Because the one thing that the cosmos is going to do is keep a receipt, honey. Okay? Now, with that being said, go on and get your favorite teacup, because I'm finna pour you up some of this tea. But before I get too deep into it, you already know what to do. Go on and hit that like. Go on and subscribe to your girl if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of this cosmic tea that I want to sip with you. Now, let's get into it, because you already know this whole situation is completely out of control. And baby, I absolutely was not ready. However, when I start to review their charts and their placements, I seen everything I needed to know. So let's get into it. Starting with our girl, Ciara. Now, when it comes to the beautiful and confident and intelligent Ciara Miller, baby, our girl is giving walking karma realness. I gotta be real about it. She is Saturn from head to toe. Now, I wasn't able to find her time of birth, so I'm not able to confirm her rising sign, but if it had to be my guess, it would teeter between a Pisces rising or even a Scorpio rising. I really feel like there's some water up in there somewhere, but because I'm not able to confirm, I kind of left it off of the table when it comes to just doing the synastry of it all, okay? So let's get into her main placements that I can confirm, which our girl's giving Saturn realness with a Capricorn sun and an Aquarius moon. Now, we know that Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, but Aquarius used to be ruled by Saturn too. Now, it does also have another planetary parent in Uranus, okay? And we just need to keep that in mind. Now, when it comes to her Mercury, that is also in Capricorn, and her Venus is also in Aquarius. Now, when we go to Mars, we get some more of that Capricorn action. You see why I said our girl is Saturn down to the socks? Baby, I seen that and immediately thought to myself, oh yeah, the type of karma that these people just produce by doing this girl like this, child, it's actually pretty unbelievable and phenomenal to see, okay? Now, when it comes to her Jupiter is at home in Sagittarius. Now, she has her Saturn in Pisces, which means our girl just graduated from her Saturn return just last year. Now, Uranus sits in Capricorn. Her Neptune sits in Capricorn as well. Her Pluto sits in Sagittarius. And she has a North Node in Libra, which was at retrograde at the time of her birth. Now, I want to put this in here. Her Lilith is in Cancer, and her Chiron, which I really want to put an emphasis on, is in Libra. Now, I really want to highlight that energy in particular because it really plays a part in her relationships. Okay? Now, we're going to just leave it at where that's at, put a pin in that, and come back to it. And we're going to hop over to Amanda's chart real quick. Now, when it comes to old Amanda Batula, she has confirmed that she is a Leo rising, which actually kind of threw me off as her being a Leo sun as well, just because of how she was really quiet when she first came on the show. Leo is all about that light, and she kind of struggled to shine hers. So I knew immediately before getting too deep into her chart that there was some type of affliction when it comes to that energy. Now, with that being said, she's also a Capricorn moon, Her Mercury also sits in Leo. She's a Venus and Mars in Virgo. Her Jupiter is in Leo. She's a Saturn in Aquarius, which happened to be in retrograde at the time of her birth. Now, Uranus is in Capricorn. Neptune is in Capricorn, and both were also in retrograde at the time of her birth. Now, we have Pluto in Scorpio, which was also in retrograde at the time of her birth. Now, these retrogrades actually mean something, so that's why I'm saying them. Now, when it comes to her north node, she is a Capricorn north node, and that's also in retrograde. Okay, now she has a Lilith in Capricorn, and her Chiron is in Leo, and this is where the affliction starts. Okay, now, y'all already know I'm going to get deeper into that when I start to go through the Synastry. But very quickly, let's go ahead and jump into Wes placements, because y'all have to see the part that he plays in all of this. Because, baby, when I say this was scripted by the cosmos and everybody is just really playing their part, that's really what it is. And when people come into our lives, they come into our lives to teach us something. We could be taught through all kinds of ways. In this case, Ciara needed to see some things about her friend. So when it comes to Wes, he's really just a background character for the cosmos. And his energy was definitely utilized because there's just some certain things that Ciara needed to know about her friendship. And when I look at Wes's chart, yeah, it tells me everything I need to know. Now, for starters, I wasn't able to confirm Wes's date of birth, so I'm not really sure about his rising sign, but he is a Capricorn sun. Now, his moon is in Sagittarius, his Mercury is in Capricorn, his Venus is in Scorpio, which is an extreme highlight for me. His Jupiter is in Sagittarius, his Saturn is in Pisces, which means he just graduated from his Saturn return as well last year. His Uranus is in Capricorn, his Neptune is in Capricorn as well. His Pluto is in Scorpio. And let me just say that this is at the 29th degree. Now, my cosmic cousins already know about that 29th degree. That is that fated degree. There's no getting around that. It's a destination point that is literally going to do what it's going to do. And the fact that it is in Scorpio, sitting over in Pluto where it's home. Now, to add pressure to this area, we have his north node in Scorpio as well in retrograde. All right, now that's a lot. And y'all already know I'm going to break down what all that means, especially pertaining to this situation, because the Scorpio energy sits in his Venus. Now, his Lilith is in Taurus and his Chiron is in Virgo. Now, the first thing that I would like to do is to break down their natal charts. I'm not going to spend too much time on this energy, but we need an understanding on how we got here, okay? Because I know y'all think it's just as simple as a friend's betrayal, which it is, but cosmically, there is a reason, and I'm going to show you why. Starting with our girl, Ciara. Let's break down this Capricorn energy, because she has Capricorn energy in her Sun, her Mercury, her Mars, her Uranus, Neptune. I mean, it's in a lot of areas in her chart, okay? Now, the first thing that I thought about when it came to this Capricorn energy is her bone structure. This is exactly why she is extremely successful at being a model. The sun being the highlighter, what is shown out to the world, and by it being connected to her Mercury, which makes her extremely business-minded as well as disciplined when it comes to learning, wanting to build an empire. This is exactly why Ciara has several different jobs, and she's intelligent enough to be a nurse as well. Now, when we bring in her Mars in there, because it's also in Capricorn, this is kind of where her Achilles heel comes from. Because, you know, Ciara don't like people commenting on her looks too much. Like, she enjoys being a beautiful woman, like she knows she's beautiful and everything, but she wants to be respected for other things. That's kind of where that Aquarius energy comes in at. Now, Capricorn is exalted in Mars, and I think we've seen Ciara explode on the show. Okay, when it goes down, it really goes down. She's feisty and she knows how to stand up for herself. Now, let's talk about Capricorn energy for a minute, because I need y'all to understand what all of these placements mean. Capricorn is that structured, disciplined energy. It's also incredibly karmic. It is ruled by Saturn. It's all about that time, keeping things in line and having its boundaries. This energy being in Mars makes her a little bit more restricted and guarded when it comes to men. That's why when she lets somebody in, she really feels betrayed if they don't do right by her. You know what I mean? And she's genuinely attracted to Capricorn men because of the fact that they are foundational. I'm not saying specifically Capricorn men, but the energy that they exude, she loves that. She wants a man that she's able to build something with. And it's pretty much being that rock that she is for everybody else. And Ciara literally has to have that because she hasn't had that all her life. I'm looking at this Lilith in Cancer, and I already know when it comes to that, that means that your security was rocked at a very early age. Period, point blank. Whenever I see that in somebody's chart, I already know what that means. Lilith is that energy that literally you are first almost a victim, and then you have to empower yourself through that energy. And I think we've seen that on the recent episode with her purchasing her childhood home. Now, this Capricorn energy also sits in Uranus for her. And just a little bit of tea on Uranus energy. It's that planet of shock. Now, it is a generational planet, but because of the fact that it is tied to her sun, as well as her Mercury and her Mars, it does play a bigger part for her. Okay. And I can damn sure guarantee Uranus does not like Capricorn, and Capricorn does not like Uranus. Now the reason is simple. Okay. Aquarius packed up its bags and moved over to Uranus a long time ago. Now, when it lived over in Saturn, it was in the opposition of Capricorn. So everything that Capricorn represents, Uranus is obviously going to be the opposite of that energy. So it's not really familiar, or it doesn't really care for that energy. However, it does still kind of have that Saturn sting on it. So it kind of deals with the things that happen uninevitably. You know, that's why it deals with all of the things that are shocking, that suddenly happen and you never seen coming. That sitting in the area of Capricorn for her means that there were a whole lot of times in her life where that foundation and structure was kind of ripped out from underneath her. So that's why it's so important for Ciara to find that in a mate, as well as just have that overall structure and foundation in her life, just overall. Now, I mentioned about Capricorn being related to her modeling. That's because Capricorn is, in medical astrology, it rules the bones. So Ciara's bone structure is everything. And this energy is also sitting in Neptune for her. Neptune is that Pisces planet that just gives dream girl. It also deals with Hollywood. And this is exactly why she's successful at what she does. In addition, when we go back up to her Mercury deals with healthcare. So this is exactly why she is good at what she does when it comes to being a nurse. All of these things are brought to the forefront by her sun being in Capricorn. And of course, if I'm looking at all this Capricorn energy, I got to go over to Saturn to see what's going on. So by that being in Pisces, now Saturn in Pisces gets victimized early on a lot. Okay. I mean, I don't even know how else to explain it. People often cross that boundary with you, and through time, you have to learn how to put up that boundary. You have to learn how to protect yourself. You have to learn how to not be the victim. There's also some spiritual struggles with that placement, but I ain't going to get too deep into that. But just know that that's what that Saturn does when it comes to Ciara's chart. Now let's hop over to this Aquarius energy real quick, because that's also Saturn related as well as Uranus. And we talked about how sporadic Uranus can be. Now, this energy being in her moon, which your moon deals with your home, it deals with your family, and it deals with your emotions. And in addition, this energy is also in her Venus, which deals with how she wants to receive love, or most importantly, just the type of relationships that she attracts. Now, Aquarius is that weirdo. It is very unique. It is that alien. It's that energy that stands out, whether it's trying to or not. Now, it's also the sister sign of Leo. I need y'all to keep that in mind, okay? Because when we're talking sister signs, we're talking opposition. Okay? Simple and plain. I need y'all to keep that in mind, okay? Now, this energy being tied to her relationships as well as her emotions, and Aquarius energy dealing with friendships absolutely tells me that friendships mean a lot to Ciara. Her friends become her family. She becomes emotionally locked into them, which honestly makes this betrayal even worse for me. Okay, just looking at the situation, I'm like, damn. And y'all ain't even heard nothing yet. Wait till I get into the Synastry. I'm not even going to break down the other two's chart the way I'm breaking down Ciara's right now. But wait until I get into the Synastry of it all, okay? Now, that Aquarius energy makes her want to have a freedom of relationships. She's definitely a slow burner. She likes a friend to lovers type of situation. And because of the fact that she's low-key a weirdo in her mind, like she's just incredibly quirky in her mind and the way that she thinks. She likes that in a guy. She likes that to play out in her relationships as well. So that's why we look at Wes and we like, huh? But she gets it. She understands it. And after looking at her chart, I'm like, yeah, okay. But emotionally, our girl can do so much better. Now, let's talk about this Libra energy real quick because it is tied to her Venus. Libra is ruled by Venus. So whenever I talk about one of these placements, I gotta hop and see where that is in their chart. And I told y'all before that Libra energy stuck out to me. So first and foremost, when it comes to Chiron, I love to look at that because it tells me what your wound is overall. It tells me the thing that you struggled with throughout your entire life and that you still probably are struggling with. Now, a lot of people don't emphasize that Chiron, but yeah, it tells us a lot. And in Ciara's case, by it being ruled by Libra, which Libra is Venus ruled, it lets us know that even when it comes to her beauty, because Venus deals with beauty, it deals with relationships, it deals with love, it deals with money. These are all things that have been her Achilles heel, okay? She talks about being viewed as not just a sexy Jezebel type, as Austin would put it. And that was actually throwing me off because Lindsay's ass done had a new dude up in there every fucking summer. Every summer, Lindsay done had a new man. Ain't nobody referred to her as a Jezebel. And Austin was dealing with Lindsay. So I feel Ciara for being completely offended by that statement, especially because of the fact that she only dealt with him and Wes on the show. And like I said, Lindsay, now I ain't trying to, shame Lindsay because that's my girl and everything. She ain't always been my girl, but she cool. But I'm just saying, as the black girl, But that is another part of her Achilles heel. Now, if you don't know about the Chiron placement, the Chiron deals with your wounds, okay? It's that thing that you go through early on that you have to kind of develop and you wrestle with throughout your life until you end up mastering it. But it's always going to be a story to tell. It's like you having a limp for the rest of your life in this area. And we all have it. We just all have it in a different area. Ciara's happens to be in Libra, which Libra represents that scale, that balance, that equal give and take when it comes to her relationships, the way that she views not only herself, but others, but especially herself because her North Node is in Libra, but it's in retrograde. And when we talk about retrograde energy, we got to look inward. Now, all of this happening was very enlightening to me because if I was reading for Ciara and I had her in my face right now, I would definitely advise her just pouring into herself even more at this point and use this as a teachable moment to make sure that you are receiving as much as you're giving. And with that being said, I'm going to hop right over to Amanda's chart because that is what I am referring to. I'm not even referring to him. Now, as I go through Amanda's chart, I'm going to do the synastry bouncing back and forth from Ciara. So I need y'all to really stick with me and catch this tea, okay? Now, as soon as I hop over to Amanda's chart, I don't even get any good before I'm already seeing the conflict, okay? Amanda, like I said earlier, is a Leo rising with a Leo sun. And I told y'all that it threw me off knowing this about her, and especially her being a Mercury in Leo, because that talks about how you speak, how you communicate. And she just did not give me Leo. You know what I'm saying? Like when I think about a Leo on that show, I think about Lindsay. Yeah, I think about Lindsay. Hell, I even think about Kyle. I'm just saying, she was a different type of Leo, and it wasn't the type that was secure. It almost gave an inverted Leo to the point to where it damn near gave Cancer. Extremely low vibrational Cancer, but it almost gave damn near Cancer. Like, that's how inverted her Leo energy felt on that show. And I would say it's because cameras are around, but what the fuck? Leos love a good camera. What are we talking about here? So I just knew that there was an affliction, and of course, Chiron, here it comes, wounded healer, dealing with being seen. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to Wes, he was literally an object, okay? I do believe with this Chiron and this placement being so inverted, because you know I always talk about like the low vibrational points of Leo being like that ego. They're hella jealous for real, to the point to where they can even be jealous of their own partner getting any type of shine in light. They really crave attention. And if they see somebody else getting it, they will literally try to stifle it in some type of way. I feel like we've honestly seen that with Amanda when it not only comes to her friendships and how she just did Ciara, but even how she do her own husband. Like, I do understand the fact that you do not want your husband going out all the time, but hell, you turned around and started messing with somebody who is going out all the time. And every time I see a video of you, girl, you out too. This man is making money doing his DJ thing, okay? Because her husband is a DJ, just in case you didn't know. Then why would you try and rain on his parade? Especially if he's using the money to make sure that he keeps the other business afloat. He keeps everything else afloat. Like, I'm sitting here defending Kyle. I mean, Kyle a good dude. I love Kyle, actually. But this was really supposed to be Amanda's time. So everybody is just like really disappointed in her. And especially Jupiter. Jupiter is like, And I'm not even being funny. Amanda was up for her Jupiter return this year. With Jupiter stepping into Leo, she was damn sure set to glow up this year. Like, we all seen it happening. Like, everybody was ready to back her when it came to her announcing her divorce to Kyle. She was getting a lot of press, she was getting a lot of ads, and she was damn sure getting a lot of sponsorships. It was her time to shine, finally, allowing that Leo rising and that Leo sun to shine the way that she wanted to. But because of the fact that she was moving and operating through her lowest vibration of this energy, and she didn't gain this confidence in her Leo energy through self-infliction, she actually used others to be able to prime this. I don't care what nobody says. She put up with all of the cheating with Kyle because he was a stepping stone. There's a part of Amanda that always wanted the light. Now, when Ciara got on the show, Ciara was getting the type of attention that Amanda actually dreamed about receiving, okay? She was even receiving that type of attention from Amanda's husband, Kyle. Now, if you don't know the tea, Kyle is like a #1 supporter of Ciara, okay? She's actually witnessed this man break down and cry as Ciara has described her dating issues throughout the house. So if you don't think that sparks some affliction, then you must be out your mind, okay? Now, of course, we all don't like to think like that when it comes to our friends, but I told y'all, Leo and Aquarius are sister signs, so there's opposition there. Now, another thing that I noticed about Amanda's chart, and this is one thing that really stuck out to me, is her Capricorn moon. Amanda being a Capricorn moon and Ciara being a Capricorn sun, it just let me know how much Ciara really was her emotional support system. She was always that one that was going to be there to talk through those issues with Amanda. Capricorn energy is foundational earth, solid, it's grounded. And that sun is that physical portion, whereas the moon is the emotional portion. So you can literally see in their charts how Amanda emotionally leaned on Ciara, keeping in mind that Ciara's energy is tied to her Mars, which deals with her strength. She's always seen as that strong friend, that one that has it together. Now, whenever I look at that, I'm like, okay, well, that's a good foundation. Well, let me see when it comes to Ciara's moon versus Amanda's sun. Oh, we got an opposition, okay? We have Ciara's moon in Aquarius, and we have that sister sign being in Leo when it comes to Amanda's chart. So not only is this energy in opposition, but it made me ask, like, okay, where else is this sitting for Amanda? Well, if we look into her Aquarius energy in her chart, before I even make it over to her houses, I see that her Saturn sits in Aquarius and it's in retrograde. So this axis of energy is really an issue for her. So there really is a problem with Amanda just wanting to be seen. And when I think about her relationship with Kyle when it started off, she was really that girl in the shadow that Kyle just kind of brought to light. Amanda's energy definitely is giving succubus type energy to me because she never really had anything to offer any of the energies that she was taking from. And that's just me being all the way real. And I know what y'all thinking. Girl, take it easy on Amanda. But here's the thing, okay? Amanda was cool with what she was doing as long as nobody knew about it. Everybody is bringing the light. A lot of the posts that she was making in the recent days before all of this happened, all the posts that she had been making over the past year, and there was no regret in any of the things that she was doing. She was Amanda fucking Batula, as she said. I mean, those were her words, not mine. And she knew the whole time that she was backstabbing her friend, which let me know that she didn't really see Ciara as a friend. She saw her as an adversary. She saw her as someone that she wanted to learn her energy. With Ciara having so much Capricorn energy that is straightforward, seen as strong and domineering, Amanda's Capricorn energy in her chart does not give that, okay? Her Capricorn energy is in her moon, which is a real emotional place. The moon being ruled by Cancer is actually the sister sign of Capricorn, so it's in opposition. It's in the opposite area of what it even likes to be in. Then, I mean, we could go into her outer bound planets that are going to play a part with that energy, and we have Uranus and Neptune, and they're both in retrograde, which means that there's a lot of inward work that needs to be done. And then if we go over to the Lilith, which I told y'all before about that Lilith, this is energy that has to be mastered. So please hear me when I say Amanda was never her friend. Her going after Wes was nothing more than a power move. It was her way of saying, yes, Ciara, someone that you wanted actually chose me instead. We're talking about Leo ego here. And this is exactly why it is so important for you to get a synastry when it comes to your friendships. I know everybody gets a synastry when it comes to your relationships because you want to make sure when it comes to somebody that you're living with or you're going to be building a life with, that you're both going to be headed in the right direction and this is the person for you. However, when it comes to other people in your life, especially when it comes to your friendships, definitely get synastry charts on them. Whenever people come into our life, they come into our life for a reason, and their energy is meant to highlight certain things within our chart. And based on their frequency level, will depend on how they teach that lesson. This is exactly why I keep stressing about Amanda being in an inverted, almost low frequency type of energy when it comes to her Leo energy. And this absolutely should have been a warning sign to Ciara. She was not getting the same energy that she was putting into that relationship when it comes to Amanda. All of that Aquarius and Capricorn energy in Amanda's chart is completely inverted, or is stifled in some type of way. Either way, this is a classic case of frenemies. You really have to watch out for those oppositions. Not only that, when I look at Ciara's chart, and I mentioned before about that Lilith in Cancer, and I look at where Cancer sits in Amanda's chart, checking her housing system, that sits in Amanda's 12th house, which deals with your hidden enemies. Now, what's even crazier is your 7th house will deal with your open enemies, which that sits in Aquarius, which is in Ciara's moon and in her Venus. Yeah. I'm just saying, there's a lot of opposition energy. Even when I'm looking at both of their Liliths, I mean, Amanda's being in Capricorn and Ciara's being in Cancer. I mean, those are sister signs, so they're in opposition of each other. Like, and obviously it could go either way. Like, it could either be the ultimate support system for each other because you have something that the other person doesn't. But this particular situation, just based on how the other planets and how this energy is sitting, like I said, definitely being in the 12th house energy as far as that Cancer energy. This is subconscious. Now let's talk about Wes's chart for a little bit when it comes to Ciara. Like, why was she even attracted to him in the first place? Okay. Overall, Wes gives the impression, and he likes to shine out to the world his Capricorn energy, which he does balance against that Sagittarius moon that just wants that freedom. And that Capricorn energy just gives that foundation and structure that Ciara yearns for. This is exactly why Wes didn't mind taking the time for Ciara, because he actually likes that about her when it comes to his Capricorn energy. But that Sagittarius energy, it scares the shit out of that, okay? Because Sagittarius energy is about that freedom. It does not want any type of emotional restraints. In addition, his Mercury is also in Capricorn. So this is where you communicate. So he talks a good game. This is that energy and exactly why he could take a girl to a wedding as a date and it still be just like a casual thing to him, you know? Now, because of the fact that this energy is in his Uranus and in his Neptune, which, like I said, that Neptune gives like that dreamy effect. There is something within his personality about this that just draws them in, okay? But what really piqued my interest about his chart, more so than anything else, was that Scorpio energy. Now, this energy sits in his Venus as well as it sits in his north node, which is retrograde, as well as it sits in Pluto at that 29th degree. Now, I told y'all about that. Scorpio energy deals with those ultimate transformations, and ultimately his energy will come in and destroy everything if you let it. Okay? Now, one thing I have to tell you, a little tea on Scorpio energy. Lower vibrational Scorpio energy enjoys good power play as far as taking a woman away from a man that they either admire or they would like to dominate or become. I know it sounds weird. I know, but it's true. I'm like, damn, did he have a little bit of secret animosity when it came to Kyle or something? I mean, if you think I'm lying, think about, okay, P. Diddy. Now, of course, Wes ain't P. Diddy. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, but if you watch the video on my channel, I did mention about all of the guys that he had admired. He would end up going after their lady. Like, all his baby mamas was with somebody else first at the same time while he was actively pursuing them. And then if you think about Drake, okay, think Drake and how he did his own mentor with Lil Wayne when he was locked up and sleeping with his girlfriend. While the ninja was locked up, I mean, damn. This is that Scorpio energy that I'm talking about. And it really has less to do with sex, but it does help, you know, because it does rule those areas, those private areas. But it's more about the fun of the sneakiness of it all, the secret, the privacy of it all. Not to mention that Scorpio energy deals with power and control. And one thing about Wes's energy, it's fighting for his dear life for a little bit of power, honey. And I can tell that by looking at this weak-ass Mars. Now, don't get it twisted. When I say Mars is weak, I don't necessarily mean a pushover, but there definitely are a lot of afflictions with this energy. First of all, it's in Virgo, which lets me know that all of this is detailed and strategic. Whenever he goes after something, it's going to be in that way. Now, in addition, this energy is actually square his Jupiter, which deals with his expansion. And do you know what Jupiter rules? Sagittarius, which deals with his moon, which automatically lets me go that anything dealing with Jupiter as far as expansion, he has a problem with. So when it comes to expanding his emotions, this boy is always going to do something drastic to completely burn it down, because guess what else it is square? It squares Pluto, which is in that 29th degree, as we talked about. We're talking about faded transformations, faded things being torn all the way down to be rebuilt. And instead of gaining control, it's actually a lack thereof because of the fact that it doesn't have the ability to expand. Okay, do you follow me? This type of energy would cause him to make his power plays off of other people's energy. Y'all gotta be careful with this. I promise you gotta be careful with this. And this is exactly why I always advise my clients to get away from weak, unhealed energy, or if it's low vibrational. I hear all the time that my patience is very low when it comes to this, but when it comes down to it, people who are in your circle are going to fight to keep you on their frequency. And if you notice that their frequency is low, the more you stick around them, your frequency will lower as well. Okay, I'm just saying. You really got to watch what you touch and agree on. Now, speaking of his moon and that Jupiter, it's also square that Saturn. And one thing about Saturn, we already know Pop Saturn do not play. It restricts things. And when a square is involved, you know, I say that energy is like square up, like baddie style. That does not give positive. So basically what it comes down to is when Wes gets to a certain point in his relationships where he starts to get emotionally attached, he will do something completely outlandish and crazy to just tear it all down. And it won't make sense to nobody. Not even him, for real. Now, in addition, because of the fact that his Mars is in Virgo, and so is Amanda's Venus, it really does hurt to say it, but she is really more of his type. But because he just likes mess and chaos, it's going to be a very long time before Wes gets to a point where he's truly ready to settle down. They literally only put out that statement because everybody found out about it. And now that it's no longer a secret and he's kind of gotten what he's wanted out of it, you watch how fast it starts to fall apart, okay? Y'all don't even need to worry. This is not a situation that's built to last. If they do stick it out for a little bit, it's just for the mere sheer dependency of going through this in a public way and leaning on each other. But I honestly feel like the way that Kyle has gone to bat for Amanda, that's really going to be her support system, as if she hasn't drained that man enough. Now, see, this is what I be talking about with Amanda and her succubus energy. I'm about to break it down for you real quick what I'm talking about. I told y'all before that Kyle is a Leo son as well. Now, when the show first popped off, Amanda came into the scene being Kyle's ex-girlfriend. Now, because of the fact that this show was popping off, Amanda was willing to go through the storm with him, even if it meant making a fool out of herself, because it was closer to the limelight. First of all, you don't want to see your ex-boyfriend on the TV screen with all these girls, especially the way that they was moving through the summer house in the first earlier seasons, okay? Secondly, if you're that close to the limelight with all of that Leo energy, being a Leo rising and being a Leo sun, and this has been an injury or a wound of yours for a very long time, you desperately want that attention. With that being said, she spent the first season trying to earn him back, the second season playing the background, being more of a support system for him. Then the third season was kind of the flip. This is when Paige and Hannah kind of got there because it kind of boosted her confidence being around there. This is what I'm talking about this energy. Her energy was not like that before they got on the show. Now, with that being said, this is the time when she started calling Kyle out about his behavior. Remember, he had cheated on her. Now, yes, this is problematic. And yes, you do want to make sure that that is something that doesn't happen again. However, Amanda made that a part of her storyline, which ultimately made her glow a little bit more and made Kyle's become a little dimmer. Now, as she complained about how terrible of a boyfriend, fiance, then husband Kyle was, people stopped liking Kyle less and less and started liking Amanda more. Do y'all see how this works? Now, in walks Ciara. Ciara just automatically gives goddess energy. She has all this foundational earth energy. She's beyond beautiful. On top of it, she's hella intelligent, and she has the attention of every single male in the house, including your husband a little bit. Now, I'm not going to say that Kyle looked at her in that way, but we know he damn sure rides for Ciara, without a doubt. And because of the fact that Ciara's energy is so foundational, especially her being a Capricorn sun and Mars, she became such a heavy support system. As a matter of fact, Ciara's energy actually causes, with that Virgo energy in Amanda's chart, a grand trine of earth energy. Do you know how fucking supportive a grand trine in earth has got to be? I'm just saying. It got to a point that Amanda didn't just admire Ciara. She wanted to become her. Then in walks the energy in West that is literally meant to destroy and bring down anything that is not built on solid foundation or authentic energy. And this is the perfect way to siphon Ciara's energy through this man. Y'all really have to understand how this works. This is exactly why I said it never really gave that Amanda was a real friend after looking at both of their energies in this chart. And this is why I stress to y'all completely, man, make sure that you are always getting that information from your friends, as well as anyone that you have any type of relationship with. Like, we're doing all the ships, partnerships, relationships, friendships, all of the ships need to be examined, okay? Now, I genuinely feel bad for Ciara, but I'm not even tripping. And I honestly feel bad for Kyle too, but like I said, I'm not even tripping. Hell, now that Amanda isn't looking like the victim anymore, Kyle will gain his reputation back and people will slowly start loving him again. Y'all gonna see it in real time. This is what happens when you call your energy back from somebody. I just hope he doesn't give in to the bullshit, because we already know that Kyle likes to stand up for the women. And he already talking about how Amanda's mental health is being affected, which it probably is, because she has a very hard time with taking accountability for any of her actions. Now, because of the fact that Saturn is involved, this is going to get a little hairy. You best believe that everybody is going to get what they have earned. And speaking of which, I really need Ciara to learn the lesson about making sure she only gives to people what they have earned from her, and stop overdoing it when it comes to the relationships. She doesn't have to earn anybody else. This actually is a childhood wound for her. I'm definitely not going to get into it because that's her business. I just want our girl to make sure that she is in equal give and take relationships all around. Her relationship with Amanda was incredibly unbalanced. It wasn't even funny. And it makes me wonder how many other relationships that she has in her life that are completely unbalanced like that, to where she's pouring more into them than they are into her. When you are around people like that, you leave the situation feeling drained, abused, and even lower than you felt when you first met them. You will literally start to see them glow up a little bit more as your light starts to get a little dimmer. And then you have to start wondering, well, where the hell you getting all that light from? just make sure that you always do a check to make sure that you don't have any etheric aux cords plugged into your emotional speaker. That's all I'm saying. And the cosmos obviously was fed up with all of the shenanigans, because with all these transits, they definitely made sure that all of this information came to light, especially when we're talking about that Mercury retrograde that was just in Pisces. Oh, okay, yeah. That retrograde took place February 25th through March 20th. And Mercury deals with communication. And typically whenever there is a Mercury retrograde, a secret or two will fall out the closet, especially with a sign dealing with Pisces. When there's some closure that's needed, yeah, okay. The energy was definitely prepping for this, okay? Now, we started hearing little things about March 5th, and nobody was really saying too much, except for when Wes went on Watch What's Happening Live. But that was after the Mercury retrograde had already wrapped up, because that happened on March 24th. And of course, this is where he denied the rumors, once again attempting to keep that Scorpio veil up and keep everything secret and low-key. Now, if y'all remember correctly, the Pisces energy sits in both Ciara and Wes's chart in their Saturn. And I told y'all Pop Saturn don't play. He had every chance to do the right thing and still didn't. I could almost hear the cash register cha-ching of that karmic upcharge that he just gave. Now, not only that, we just had a full moon in Libra. And as we all know, they went ahead and confirmed their relationship on the 31st of March, which was the day before. Now, I told y'all this is a trigger point for Ciara. So this day was incredibly heavy for her, as well as incredibly hurtful for her. But it gave her the karmic clarity that was needed for her to move on. Now, when it comes to your North Node, it deals with your soul's mission. So this happening was actually extremely necessary for her soul's mission, okay? Ciara being heavy on the block button was definitely necessary, as well as making sure she stands firm with that equal give and take. She definitely has to make sure that it is always being fair to her. Now, this is actually something that has been in the making for a while, because we're talking about Pluto in Aquarius as well. Now, anywhere that Aquarius energy has been, and there's been a lot of energy that's been dealing with that Aquarius Leo axis that we've been dealing with this year, because we have the solar eclipse in that energy, as well as we had that lunar eclipse energy that was on that Virgo Pisces axis as well. So this energy damn near affected all their love lives, okay? But like I said before, that energy can't tear down anything that hasn't been built on solid ground. So if it's easily destroyed, then that means that it definitely isn't where it needs to be. And the cosmos has to take out the trash so you could get the energy that you deserve in there. Believe it or not, this situation being exposed was the biggest favor for Ciara that she could have possibly had. She definitely needed to let things go with Wes. He was never going to give her that foundation that she needed, unfortunately. This reunion is damn sure going to be interesting, because we still have this Neptune and Saturn conjunct energy that will be going down for the next 2.5 years, pretty much. So the future of Summer House, I'm really not sure about. But just like everything else when it comes to that energy, it really is kind of giving new beginnings. Now, I know that they were talking about there was supposed to be a spinoff called The City, but as I believe it was supposed to be centered more around Kyle and Amanda. The only time will tell if this new beginning Aries energy will set to shape a new beginning for Kyle and Amanda as a couple or them as separate. One thing's for sure, that Jupiter in Leo was definitely going to be hitting Amanda, and it was going to have her shining. But after everything has happened, and like I said, all of this karmic upcharge, she just really just rung up on herself. I definitely don't see that happening. However, people will start to shine their light a little bit more on Kyle. Like I said, the boy done got his power back. Now, in addition, this Aries energy is also going to be completely amazing when it comes to Ciara. As we get deeper into the month of April, we will be dealing with Gemini going into Uranus. This means that there's still going to be a lot more talk on social media. A lot more secrets are going to be exposed. A lot more bombshells will be coming out about this. We have not heard the last of all of the information. Right now, people are going back over the season 10 and looking for all of the clues, and trust me, they're there. They're there. But the future of how all of this will play out for all of them is kind of still up in the air. I'm not sure if Ciara will choose to continue to stay in the house, or if she will choose to take an early departure like her girls Hannah and Paige. I guess we shall see. I know people were talking about they would love to see Ciara do The Bachelorette. I honestly do not want to put her in an environment where you have more clout-thirsty demons trying to siphon her energy. Like, I would not like that. So I guess we'll have to see what type of opportunities Ciara will be presented with to figure out where her energy is going. And well, Amanda, Well, her and West will be, I'm almost positive, they're going to be like so meek and humble at the reunion, very opposite of the cockiness and the blatant disregard for the people that they were hurting type of energy that they were displaying before everybody found out what was really going on. Wes and Amanda both having a Mars in Virgo. They're both incredibly strategic, both incredibly manipulative, and they're planning out the argument down to the detail and how all of this is going to go. They're trying to figure out every single scenario, and they're definitely going to be doing damage control to try and make other people look bad. Now, when that doesn't work, they'll probably turn on each other. More than likely, Amanda will turn to Kyle and say that she was just completely confused because of everything that they were going through in their relationship, and she will once again make herself feel like she's the victim and have others believe that she is like a victim, and he came in and completely manipulated the situation and caught her at a vulnerable time. Like, this is literally the playbook I'm giving y'all, okay? Either way, they will have to navigate their new lives, being known as two of the biggest backstabbers on reality TV. Well, Cosmic Cousins, I sure hope you enjoyed this breakdown, but I would love to hear y'all's thoughts, so definitely go ahead and drop it in the comments. If you might have caught something in those placements that I might have missed, definitely drop that in the comments and let's discuss. And as always, Cosmic Cousins, I enjoyed having you here. Thank you so much for your continued support, and I'm out.